Hello viewers, welcome to today's episode of Women's View. My name is Anne Moremi, I'm your host, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure when you join us. I'd like to remind you that we are now live on YouTube, and we're also live on Facebook. The handle is GPS Kenya. Kindly subscribe and like our Facebook page so that you can be able to see our previous episodes, because we've had quite a number of shows, exciting shows in the past. We also have an SMS line. The number is 21144. Feel free to send in your questions, your comments, and it will be very good to interact with you. Today we have a very interesting topic, and with me in studio, I have a lady and a gentleman, and I'd like to give them this opportunity to introduce themselves, starting with the lady. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello viewers, my name is Joy Wanjiru, and I work with an organization called New Dawn Mentorship, and I am a teen mentor, and I'm happy to be here today.
Welcome, Joy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have a gentleman in studio. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hello viewers. My name is Kennedy Wakwaya. I also work for New Dawn Kenya. I'm involved in the program as a program manager as well as a mentor for the preteens.
Welcome to the show. It's good to have you both. So viewers, today we have the team from New Dawn. They're involved in parenting and as mentors. The topic is parenting in the digital era. So enjoy yourselves and let's learn a little bit more from the mentors we have. So, mentor has become such a common word nowadays. Yes. And I'm happy that we have a preteen mentor and then we have a teen mentor, which means that there's a sequence that it's quite organized at New Dawn.
Yes.
But before we get into the topic, I really am very curious about how you became mentors.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I'll start with Joy.
Thank you.
Joy, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up and how what you wanted to do before, and then how you became a teen mentor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joy, I have grown up in Kibera. That's where I grew up.
Yes.
Or I went to primary school at a school called Mbagathi, just next to Kibera.
Yes.
And while in Kibera, where my school was, I would come out of Kibera and come Mbagathi Hospital. It was opposite. It still is. So I always desired to live in a nice house, because we lived in an iron sheet house, and we were a family of 5. And it was not a very good house.
It was not very spacious. It was a bit
cramped. It was actually one room.
Yeah.
And of course we had the washrooms were outside, and of course that time we didn't really have good sanitation like there is now.
Yeah, it's much better now actually.
Yeah, much
although
better.
there's still more that can be done.
Yes, for sure. So, and I thank God that I went to church. My mom took me to church at such a young age. And I met my pastor. He's called Pastor Peter.
Okay.
And
I hope he's watching.
Yes, I hope he is. And he journeyed with me. He helped me to see, beyond my space where I was.
Your circumstance, yeah.
Yes, and he honestly mentored me. He walked with me, believed in me.
Yeah.
Because in Kibera, you see life is just around there.
Yeah.
And of course you grow up and you all you see is you get married and continue your life there.
Get a house nearby or in the next
yes.
What would you say? Compound.
In the next compound.
And neighboring,
and the generation continues.
Yeah. And that is something that you had seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something that I had seen. And so one of the things he encouraged me to do is to work hard.
Okay.
He told me working hard is the only thing that will get you out of here, and it's the only thing that will help you to become a better person and to help your family.
Yeah.
And so because my dad was really a drunk most of the time, my mom worked so hard. She washed clothes, she sold uji, at some point she even hawked in town. She hawked in town. So when I saw that and I saw the life you're living, I was like, no, I want better. And because my pastor here encouraged me, and of course encouraged me with the word of God, and told me there's, believe there's better, work hard. And I did work hard in school. And working hard, I got a good grade from primary school. But now the challenge was, how do I go to a good high school?
I know, because maybe it was cheaper to pay for primary school.
Yes.
Are you the firstborn?
Yes, I am.
I know.
I am the firstborn. And I remember when I was in class 6, I had a huge debt in school fees.
Yes.
But thank God that the free primary education came.
I know.
And I am a wonderful beneficiary because
Yes.
that meant I could go on up to class 8.
Yeah.
So I did my class 8. Now got a good grade, but I couldn't go to high school. I couldn't. At that time, I felt like, wow, my dreams
are going to be curtailed here after working so hard,
exactly.
you
know. And my dream was to become a pilot. I always, people talk about becoming a pilot. So I wanted to fly.
And you'd see, I'm sure, because you're so close to Wilson,
exactly.
you'd see the planes in the air, and it was so inspiring.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I remember one thing my mom told me. She told me, you know what, Joy, I don't have money to take you to high school.
Okay.
But this Kenya, it has people who have money in their pockets. We will knock every door, every office, every church.
Very positive and driven.
Yes. Until we get something for you.
Okay.
And we went, knocked a few offices, churches. Most of them we were told, oh, sorry, you've come a bit late.
Yeah.
But we went to one, and I remember it was in Langata, a place called Otiende. And we found this Catholic brothers' residence. And I spoke to them. I remember I met one from Australia. He's called Brother Frank.
You remember the name, of
yes.
course.
Yes.
This was life-changing.
Oh, yes, I remember because we are also still in touch, though he left. So that time I shared my story, and he was like, I don't have that money to take you to school right now.
Okay.
But I'll just take you a photo, and with this photo, let's pray that God will do something.
Okay.
I went back to Kibera. Of course, a bit discouraged because I was expecting...
Make a photo now. Me, I went to money for high school. No, photo.
Yes.
How are the two related? Okay.
Imagine.
But nevertheless, you took that step.
Yes. And so at that point, I had done my class 8.
Okay.
Now, I joined mom in town to do hawking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least raise something.
I know. Yeah,
And so one of those mornings when I'm leaving to go to town, I'm there with my gunia at the door, and a boy comes asking me, is this you on this photo? And I'm like, that photo that I took. And then he told me, oh my God, I have looked for you. And he told me the story of how he was sent by the brother who took the photo. And wow, I was like, finally, there is light.
Thank God for these photos.
Yes, there is light.
Okay.
And when now I got an opportunity to go to high school, and later I went to University of Nairobi.
Basically, they sponsored your education, your high school education.
Yes, they did.
Nearby in a boarding school.
I went to a boarding school, a good boarding school. Yeah, because I had performed well, so I went to a school called Gateway Girls. Today it's a national school. It's in Githunguri.
Wow.
So that's where I went, and later I went to University of Nairobi.
Look at you, girl. So proud of you.
Oh, I really bless God, because this was his doing for sure.
Was.
Yes, and so the inspiration.
So what did you study in uni?
I did psychology and sociology and communication.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm beginning to see. Okay. Before you tell us how you actually did become a teen mentor at Newton, let's also get to listen a little bit about Ken's stories. I love listening to people's life stories because, like, it's so interesting. Just your background. I'm happy I asked you because actually, it has actually already. I have so many questions for you already.
Oh, wow.
So, but Ken, tell us about you as well. You're a preteen mentor.
Yes.
That is a very recent thing. It was not there when I was growing up. I didn't know anybody who wanted to be a preteen mentor. Anyway, so what about you? How did you grow up, and how did you find yourself in this space of mentoring preteens?
Space of mentoring preteens.
Yeah.
My story is a bit different. I listened to Joy and I'm already inspired.
I know, me too. I'm like, we can close the show, guys. Just go home, work hard, and hope for the best, and God will come through it.
Yes, my story, I'm somebody who traveled the country.
Okay.
My dad used to work for what used to be called Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what produced Telcom and Posta.
Exactly.
So by the time he was giving birth, my parents were giving birth to me, we were staying in Machakos.
Okay.
So I was born in a place called Masi in Machakos.
Masi, I've heard of Masi.
Yes.
There's a Masi Dam or something.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so we stayed there, and then we went to stay in, after Machakos, went to Kitui, and then after Kitui, we went to stay in Ruiru.
Okay.
I did a bit of primary there in Ruiru Primary.
Yes.
Then we moved to Kisumu.
Wow.
Yeah,
Quite well traveled.
Yes, I was able to interact with quite a different group of people.
Yes.
During my travel. It was, I was able to go through my schooling with less effort than Joy had to go through.
I know. For it
But during my period, I was confused. I could say confused. I believed in science, and to some extent, I was somebody who was struggling with the concept of God.
Okay.
But at the same time, I was listening to this program that used to happen on KBC. Neno Linasema, something like that. It used to happen every weekday from around, I think, 10:30 to 11. And
In the morning?
Yes, in the morning.
Okay.
And
so this is after, you started listening after you're done with
No,
primary?
no, no. During the times I'm in primary.
Okay.
So I'm listening to it.
You're not in class?
Not in, okay, the sessions when I was at home. I would
During the
listen to it
holidays.
during the holidays or
Okay.
anytime. And after listening to it, they would ask for guys to be born again. I would get born again. And then forget about this whole story. Next day,
Listen again?
listen again and get born again. I got born again several times. But at the same time, I was this person who was struggling with science. I believed that I would be a scientist.
Okay.
So God allowed me to be somebody who was good in class.
Okay.
So I was performing relatively well in class. So I believed that my focus would be on science.
Yes.
So in primary, I used to be called scientist. I have a brother who used to be called engineer.
Okay.
Because his vision was to be like my dad, who was good in engineering. So I was the scientist, he was the engineer. So here, in the science world, there's no God. But after
But
going-
here there's this program which is talking
But
about
keeps on
God,
telling
you
me-
know, in the Bible.
that I have to believe in God. So I'm a mix. I think it's the challenge of growing up. You're not yet decided on which direction you're going to.
Okay.
So as I finished primary, I finished my primary in Kisumu.
Okay.
Then I was able to go to high school. I had the opportunity to pick very many high schools.
Okay.
But because of different factors, I went to one that, for good reason, was so focused on issues of Christianity.
A Christian school, maybe?
It was not. It was Christian sponsored,
Okay.
but had a very strong CU.
Oh, okay.
And one thing that helped me a lot was the fact that in Form 1, the people who helped me through the process of getting involved in the school, just getting oriented with what is happening, were the CU members.
Okay.
So I couldn't interact with the Form 2s and any other person who was not CU. So basically I was involved and started getting, interacting a lot with CU members.
Okay.
So I had these sessions where they had CU meetings on Saturdays, on Friday nights. So I would be going for the CU services and going and listening to the message and listening and going. And there was a time I sat down with he was in Form 3, one of the guys who was involved in the CU, a CU official, and told him, your message looks very interesting, but it would be very hard being born again.
Okay. Joy, I remember that you studied psychology in university.
Yes.
Just before we get back to Ken's story,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about how you joined New Dawn. Or how
Yes. Yes. So when I was in high school, there's a group of young people that came to our school.
Okay.
It's called Kenya Youth for Christ.
Yes.
And I remember the topic was worth the wait.
Okay.
And I loved the way they shared it with us. And deep within, I knew I needed to work with someone and tell them you can believe in yourself.
Okay.
You can become a better person.
You started feeling in you
Yes.
the desire to mentor people.
Exactly. That's why I felt I want to also work with someone. Okay. And I promised myself after high school, I'm going to join this Youth for Christ.
Yes.
And that is how I joined Youth for Christ.
So even when you're in university, you're still in Youth for Christ?
Yes. So in Youth for Christ, I met another wonderful mentor. She's called Lois.
Yes.
Oh, she walked with me.
Yeah.
She still does. So she worked with me, she coached me, she sharpened me, she removed some ushambaness in me.
Actually, I don't think there's any that's
You should have met me then.
How are you different?
Oh my goodness, I won't tell you, but I was totally different.
It's so interesting because you are a beneficiary of a lot of mentors.
Yes, I am.
Right from when you
sure.
were in primary school in Kibera,
yes,
to right through high school, right through university.
Yes.
So I guess for you, you already understood deeply the concept of
Yes.
mentorship.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And going to university, I knew I needed to do something that can help me to mentor.
Yes.
And that's how I ended up doing psychology and sociology. Yes, and that's how I found myself in Newdon, because my mentor Lois was in Newdon.
Okay.
And that's how she pulled me in.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So at Newdon, you're a teen mentor.
Yes, I am.
What are some of the challenges that you find the teens of today are dealing with?
The biggest challenge, I would say, is identity, because teenage is it's a place where children are now beginning to feel, oh, I'm no longer a child,
Yeah.
neither am I an adult.
Yes.
They begin to ask the questions: who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I heading? What do I want to become? And of course, there is also this. They're also developing.
That's true.
There are the emotions that are taking place. There's the changes. There's the growth, physical, emotional. So there's a lot
of changes.
happening. Yes, a lot of changes, and that is where you find they're in an identity crisis. They're not so sure who they are.
Okay.
They're not so sure where they want, what they want. They begin to make sense of some challenges or things they've gone through in their younger life. So there's all these questions. And that's why when you sit with a teen, they're so confused about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. And it's just a stage. And it's a
Yes.
season that comes to
It
an
is.
end eventually.
Yes.
So, Ken, back to you. How did you get into Newdon?
How did I get into Newdon?
Yeah.
I'm involved in Mamlaka Chapel. I work, I've been in the worship team.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a friend of mine who we interact with. We still interact with her a lot. She mentioned that the program Newdon required male mentors.
I know.
So
I can imagine that they're mostly ladies, at Newdon, right?
Yes, for sure.
So
But thank God there's
I was
Ken.
like, this is an interesting concept, because as a boy, as a man, growing up,
Yeah.
Interaction with mentors was very minimum. We had role models, people who we could look up to,
Yes.
and not people who you could consult and just get to learn from and share your life with.
Okay.
So, in primary and high school, especially primary, you'd get situations where girls would be taken out and the boys would be left wondering, what is happening with the girls?
Oh, actually, there's so much focus on the girls.
Yes,
Maybe they're taken out by their aunts and their friends,
Yes.
and the boys are just left there, just
You're wondering,
why are we not going ourselves?
Yeah, and then you're left to figure life out on your own.
That's true.
But you're supposed to be in the same stage as girls
I know.
when you finish school. So you find in many instances when you interact with girls, with ladies after college, they have a lot of information.
They are at a much
They are-
higher level.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they have had people helping to model them.
Yeah,
But
and
the
those are
boys-
mentors, really.
Yes.
Just that maybe it was not formalized, but it's really mentors giving them talks
Yeah.
about growing up.
Yes.
And then they find the boys don't have that.
Yes, but the boys are at the point where they need to start learning afresh. So I would listen to a lot of interviewers talking and saying how it is easier to interview girls because they know what they are talking about, how to present themselves, while the boys still think that their grades will speak for itself.
I know, yeah.
So my involvement was the need to also help boys to just learn how to to get the life skills so that they be able to be ready when they get to the situation of doing stuff on their own.
That's right.
Yes.
When they're independent.
When they're independent,
And eventually
yeah.
they're going to go and get jobs, they're going to go for interviews, they're going to eventually marry. So they also need to be prepared the same way that the girls do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once I heard from Dana, her name is Dana.
Yes.
Yes, and we were able to get in touch with the office.
Okay.
And we were called in for an interview, and I was like, this is not a job. Why are you interviewing
Being a
me?
mentor.
Being a
It's not a
mentor. But I got to understand why. They needed to know if, first, Newdon is a Christian organization. They needed to get to know my Christian walk.
Yeah.
And they needed to get to know me as an individual.
That's true.
So after being involved, I went for another interview where I got to be in charge of a few boys who I tried to mentor during this period. So I joined Newdon in 2014.
Okay,
So I joined as a mentor.
Yeah.
Then after some time, they required some guy to be involved in the office.
Okay.
So I applied, and then I was able to start working in Newdon
Okay,
as a
excellent.
program officer.
So at Newdon, the girls have a female mentor, and the boys have a male mentor.
Yes.
Yes.
That's very okay. That's good. That's good that it's sort of, because there's certain things that only somebody of your same sex can be able to explain and
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
So today we're talking about parenting in the digital era, and one of the greatest challenges we're having is that a lot of our children from a very young age are being exposed to phones, iPads,
Yeah.
laptops, computers, because of course that is the era that we are in, and it is good
Yes.
because there are a lot of solutions that have come through computers and through digitalization. How is that affecting parenting, Joy? Or how would you say the effect of all this
Yeah.
has been? I know you don't have children, but you interact with them
Yeah.
when they come to you to your program.
Yeah.
How are you finding? How are the children nowadays when it comes to gadgets?
Okay. First of all, just to correct you, I have a son. Yes, I have a son. He's 2-year-old. He's a 2-year-old. And,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And to be honest, he's also taught me a lot about parenting, and also especially this era of gadgets, and we are always on social media, phones, catching up with people.
Yes.
Yeah, but one of the things that we have experienced is that parents are the role models,
That's true.
the very first role models. And children, they model their parents' behavior.
Yes.
And as a parent, what I have actually learned, that children learn by repetition. I have seen that there are times that when my son, especially at this age of 2, where he's learning,
Yes.
when I say something, he will repeat it.
Yes.
And when he repeats it, he repeats it until he gets
He
it.
gets it. Yes.
So imagine if I'm vulgar and I use the bad words. That's what he will get.
Yes.
And for him, he's really innocent.
Yeah.
The other thing I've observed is when I'm on my phone, there was a time I was just sharing with Ken. There's a time when I was on my phone, really focused on my phone, and my son he realized, oh, but mom is she's just come from work and she's on her phone for such a long time. He grabbed the phone and he was just about to dump it in water. That was a huge lesson for me. And then I opened
Imagine a 2-year-old.
Yes, a
He's
2-year-old.
Like, this thing is taking away my mom's attention.
Yes,
Let
exactly.
me discard it. Okay.
Yes, and that time he was actually not 2, he was about 1.5.
Yeah.
And I realized, no, I think I need to open my eyes.
Yeah.
I need to give my son attention.
You do. That's true.
I need to honestly have discipline.
Yes.
Because my son is crying. He can't speak, but he's actually telling me
I know
that.
he's less than 2 and he's trying to communicate
Yes.
that he wants you.
Yes.
And please, this phone is what is interfering. So if
Exactly.
this is the problem, let's
Yes.
get rid of the problem.
Yes.
So that I can have mommy back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And that is actually the case with parents, most of the parents. We come home from work,
Yes.
and the first thing is we want to catch up with 101 WhatsApp messages.
I know.
And time goes like that.
You
the
don't
next time you
how
realize,
much
yes,
time has gone.
exactly.
Yeah.
And especially when we have children, they're losing out.
Yeah.
And one of the things, we also think that when we want to buy a child a gift, we give them a phone. We think we've
We'll
done
come back to that. That's another whole.
Yes.
There's a lot going on there. Let's hear from Ken. Ken, what about you? Do you have children?
No.
Just first ask
No, I don't.
instead of assuming. Okay. So, but you do interact with a lot of preteens.
Yeah,
When you
there is.
when you say preteens, what ages are you talking about, basically?
Ages from about 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
Yes.
So by the time you get children who are 8 to 12, of course, they have already been exposed to
Social media.
to computers, to iPads. They probably have their own, some, maybe not all. So how has parenting changed because of all these gadgets that they have? One way she has mentioned is that children are not getting enough attention from their parents. Do you find that to be the case for you?
Do I find that to be the case? I am thinking that parents are struggling with getting the attention of their kids.
For you, it's okay.
Kids are so focused on a lot of this digital stuff. I had a group that the kids were so engrossed in a video game called GTA.
GTA?
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I've read a little bit about it. Is
Yes.
it about, what is the game about? In a shortly. I'm sure you know it. I don't.
Yeah, it's about theft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not just theft, grand theft.
Yes.
Of automobiles.
Of automobiles, yes. Yeah, so that's about it. And you get points by stealing, you get points by, unfortunately, raping and doing all that stuff.
Raping?
Yeah, yes. So when interacting with these kids from, the parents were struggling to get the attention of these kids because the kids were so engrossed in this. So it was attention. The parents were struggling to get attention from the kids who had the attention on other stuff.
It's so interesting because you see, the ball game has changed. Here's your little child. I'm sorry to use the example. I'm not saying that it is. It is representative of what is happening anyway. So I'm not like personalizing it, but I'm saying when they are little, the parents are over-focused on on gadgets. So the children are missing out on the attention of the parents. So anyway, they keep seeing this, they keep seeing this. Then shortly after, when they're preteens, 8 to 12, they're already hooked. Now it is vice versa. The parent wants the attention of the children, but they can't get it because the children are engrossed in games, in social media as well.
Yes.
So it's almost like karma. You did this to me, I'm going to do it to you.
It comes back.
Oh, okay. So that is the challenge you're finding, that at that age, 8 to 12, parents are now trying to get their children
out of them. They keep on asking us to talk to them about social media, to tell them how not to do stuff at certain times because it's affecting their work in other areas. They're not doing their homework. They're not relating well. They're antisocial.
Yes.
So the parents are concerned that our kids are not getting the best in life because they're so focused on the gadgets. For the boys especially, it's video games, WhatsApp and all that.
But are they all that bad? You know, you mentioned about Grand Theft Auto, GTA.
No. They're not all in.
But maybe
in
that's.
There are very many games. If the more you interact with the preteens, the more games you get to know, and the more you get to know how they interact with social media. For the preteens, Facebook is old school.
I know,
The Instagram is the thing. Is the new thing.
Yes.
For the parents, they still think that
Facebook
is it. So you learn a lot from them.
Yes.
And Instagram and Snapchat are the in thing. Yes, and they can get a lot of positive as well as negative information from
negative influence. They're being influenced a lot by social media. All right, Ken, thank you so much and Joy. We'd like to take a short break. Viewers, we'll be right back after the break. So keep it here. Thank you.
Healing, hope, restoration. Amazing stories of real people like you who have triumphed over tragedy. Watch Turning Point International and be inspired to reach your turning point.
It really ministers to the soul of man, and as a pastor, you benefit a lot because people learn and they learn how to cope with issues probably you don't even deal with in your sermons.
It's not reality TV, it's real life TV.
Hello viewers, welcome to Women's View.
What you see is what you get.
Very exciting and fun.
We grew up in a certain community and we were told this is how women are.
Everybody was coming with what they can get.
This is not a joke. You signed up for life.
Very interesting.
A woman is this.
You want somebody else to do something for you that you can do for yourself.
You know what, you're doing a great job. You keep doing it.
You are going to school to become a musician. Like, seriously? Okay, hit.
The The show airs every weekday from 11 a.m. to noon and is repeated every evening from 7 to 8 p.m. I look forward to seeing you there.
People have dominance over themselves. Why? Daddy, no money. Give me money, I'll buy for you. Daddy, I say I don't have money. I know, Daddy.
Can the Ethiopian change his skin? Or the leopard its spots?
예수님이 우리의 모든 죄값을 다 지불하시기 때문에 예수님 다 이루었다라고 말씀하셨잖아요.
So Jesus paid for all the wages of our sin. That's why he could say it is finished.
Yesu alipa mshahara wa dhambi ya deni zetu lote, ndiposa akasema kwamba imekwisha.
하나님은 슈퍼컴퓨터와 같은 분이에요.
Everyone, God is like the supercomputer.
Upendo wa Mungu ni kama hii supercomputer.
How many of you use your real names on Facebook? Wengine ni sweetie pretty.
You must succeed in being an eagle and not a chicken.
I'm seeing myself owning the biggest media house in Africa. Yes, I could employ you, in fact. Yes.
All right, now it is going to another direction. But that's a question.
When you are born and when you grow up, now you do the work. You become a person who likes the country. You understand, right? I mean, not getting a job at Kenya Power, right?
And you know what? Who you are online is exactly who you are offline. And who you are offline is who you are online.
제가 여러 군데 가서 강연을 많이 해보는데
So I've been to many places to give lecture.
우나일레와 사와사와 이러면
Whenever I say "Unaelewa sasa,"
눈썹으로 인사를 대답을 해요.
they respond with their eyebrow.
People have dominance over themselves. Why? Daddy, no money. Give me money, I'll buy for you. Daddy, I say I don't have money. I know, Daddy.
Can the Ethiopian change his skin? Or the leopard its spots?
예수님이 우리의 모든 죄값을 다 지불하시기 때문에 예수님 다 이루었다라고 말씀하셨잖아요.
So Jesus paid for all the wages of our sin. That's why he could say it is finished.
Yesu alipa mshahara wa dhambi ya deni zetu lote, ndiposa akasema kwamba imekwisha.
하나님은 슈퍼컴퓨터와 같은 분이에요.
Everyone, God is like the supercomputer.
Upendo wa Mungu ni kama hii supercomputer.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe and get to listen to most of our previous shows, which are also very interesting. The handle is GBS Kenya. We also have an SMS line. The number is 21144. So Ken, before we took a break, you told us that there's a lot of influence that is coming to our children through social media, because we're talking about parenting in the digital era. So Joy, maybe you can give us a little bit about the effects of all this exposure to social media, exposure to gadgets from a young age. How is that affecting our children?
Yeah, there are a lot of effects, and unfortunately parents don't take time to just read or get information about the effects before even purchasing the gadgets or passing them down to the children.
Yes.
And one of the worst effects is that it affects children physically and mentally. Yeah, and there was a research that was done in Philippines that shows that 3% of the children who suffer from obesity, among the effects, one of them is because of gadgets.
Yeah, because they're not exercising.
Yes, they're not exercising. They are seated most of the time.
Watching. Playing.
Yes.
Or texting or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also another research that showed that most children spend 7 to 9 hours on their gadgets every day. Yes.
7 hours?
Yes, 7 hours.
Is this during school holidays or what?
Especially during school holidays.
Yeah, because surely when school is going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because when
that's
that
a lot
child,
of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, and those are 50 hours in a week. Yes. Because that child you leave them at home, they'll be on their gadgets.
Yes.
You come back home, they're on their gadgets. You go to sleep, they're still on their gadgets.
You're trying hard to get them out of them.
Yes, yes. And the other thing that that children suffer from, especially when they start using gadgets from such a young age, below 6 years, they suffer from slow cognitive development.
Okay.
So this has to do with...
That's more mental.
Yes, it's more mental. And the other thing is attention deficit. Because you find that you come home and you call your child, "Hi, Ken," they will not respond.
Yes.
Ken, you have to go and touch them so that they, you're here.
It's like these two guys, they're like, okay.
Exactly.
Coming back to reality.
Yes. So that has an effect. You can imagine now that when they go to school, this is a person who you're preparing to be a student.
It hampers their learning.
Yes, it hampers.
They can't concentrate.
Yes.
For long.
Yeah. And now you can imagine when they get to a point where they're getting employed, it has a bad effect. So it's good to just... it's good for parents to take measures to ensure that we curb these things, because it's easy to solve them before they happen.
Actually, when they are young, you find that when you're trying to get them into other activities, it's easy. They're more flexible.
Yeah.
You know, but if they grow old and get into teenage, like for you, you're a teen mentor.
Yes.
Are you finding that there are children now who are struggling to watch, to be on their gadgets less?
They are.
They are.
Okay. They are. They're children who are struggling. Like, you take away the gadget from them, it's like you've taken away life from them.
I know, yeah.
They will mourn, they will grumble. And one of the things we do in our mentorship program, we advocate, don't come with your gadgets.
Yeah.
Let's have a time to just away, face-to-face, one-on-one. Yeah. Because another effect is that you find that the gadgets have become the babysitters.
That's true.
They become the babysitters. As long as the child is not crying, they're focused there. I can do everything.
Okay. You have time to do whatever, your housework or to do your errands.
Yes.
Or you think that they're safe.
You think they're safe.
Yeah, because they're not going to be kidnapped at home.
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
But really, it's an attack also on them.
It's an attack. Yeah. It's for sure, because when you also look at the social effects, you're expecting this child to go and play outside or to socialize with people one day.
Yes.
But really, what we have given them from such a young age is that you can be alone and have a good time on your phone.
Yeah.
You don't need people.
They're very isolated.
They're isolated.
Yes.
And that's how they become lonely. And then when they become teenagers, they will start becoming suicidal.
Yeah. They become depressed.
Because
they are craving human connection.
Exactly.
Which cannot be delivered by gadgets.
Yes.
And now when you interact with them, because I know some of your sessions are like maybe you sit together and you want to have conversations.
Yes.
Are they able to converse easily?
Yeah, they are able to converse, but it takes a lot of hard work, because you can tell this one, there's attention. She's totally not here. She's present but absent. She's physically present, but her mind is elsewhere.
And maybe she's thinking, I want this session to end so that I can go back and see what my friends have posted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, okay. And actually, some will come into the sessions asking, when are we going to finish? And we haven't started.
Yeah, because they want to go back to their phones.
Yes, really, they just want to go back to their phones.
Yeah.
Because it's already something they're used to.
So there's a bit of an addiction tendency there.
Exactly.
Sure.
And addiction is another effect.
Yes.
Because you find they become so addicted. It's not like, becomes like, it's an addiction like any other.
Yeah.
And you find that when you now try to come and help, you can feel there are some symptoms, withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, because the child is already addicted to the gadget. And you know, Ken spoke about games.
Yes.
These games have levels. You move from one level to another, so you're aiming to get to the next level and the next level. And now you get more hooked into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ken, what can you say about the effects maybe that Joy has not mentioned? Because maybe there's another effect that boys, that is there on boys that is different.
Apart from addiction, the issues of cyberbullying, I think,
Ah.
yeah, it's a very big problem.
Yeah.
People can be affected very badly by cyberbullying. Could lead to suicide.
Yes. I know,
Yeah.
Being attacked because of maybe putting a picture that was not, you know.
Putting a picture, being people using explicit. That's even another effect. Having the kids being exposed to sexual content before they are ready to
they're even able to handle
process it. Yeah. So if total exposure to social media and all this digital stuff could really affect kids in that they may be handling information that their minds, their brains are not able to process.
TMI.
Yeah. So it's good to have situations where we manage how they receive this information. Yes.
Do you feel we're winning the battle against social media? Because I feel that the onslaught is so targeted by the people behind it that I feel like are we really gaining any ground? Because it's like this issue of exposure to social media is getting worse and worse. Not just for the children, even for the parents. Are we really making any progress?
I do not look at it as making progress, winning or losing.
Yes.
I think of it about as how can we control the situation. It can be specific to you as a parent, to your community, because you find that you may do so much as a parent to control the usage of social media, but your neighbor may be participating in influencing your kid negatively. So you may be thinking you're winning,
backwards,
but you're not really winning because there's somebody doing a lot of negative stuff to your kid.
That's true.
So it's good to have rules, to have regulations, but it's also good to have a situation where you have people of like minds who you interact with, who your kid interacts with, so as to help manage that situation.
Exactly, especially if you're going to do sleepovers. Maybe I need to be sure that maybe where they're doing sleepovers, we are on the same agreement values in terms of values with the parents, because I find that you can control in your home and say, let's say there will be no unsupervised watching of TV for extended periods of time. But then if you go to a sleepover at maybe my friend's house and they don't have that rule, then and you know kids are very clever. What they're going to do is keep saying, oh, can we go to so-and-so's house? Because they know there are no rules. So you're thinking that it's just for fun. But there's, so I think as parents, we also need to make sure that, I like what you say, Ken. Like-minded people.
And actually, that is what our program in Newdon is doing. Because what we do, when you bring in your child for mentorship, we ask you, talk to her friends.
Okay.
So the people they go to school with, the girls they go to school with. So that we work together as a group.
Exactly.
And we also work with parents.
Yes.
So we also have parenting sessions so that we also ensure while we are mentoring the girls, the parents are also getting mentored on the side, so that the values, we are in the same page when it comes to values.
That's true.
And then the children that are in the group, their parents also agree on what do they allow, what don't they allow. They agree on the same values, so that when they come for a sleepover in your house, it will be the same thing. If you don't allow Wi-Fi, it will not be allowed.
Are there people who have had to not have Wi-Fi in their homes?
Yes, there are a lot of people that we know that don't have Wi-Fi at all in the house.
Did they have it and then now they decided not to have it because of seeing the effect on their kids, or did they never have it from the beginning?
There are those who have realized that they need to minimize the screen time and what their children watch. And there are parents who also control, and there are applications that you can download and they help you track or minimize the sites that your children go to.
And you can use things like passwords.
Yes.
Before they figure it out, because you know children are so clever. They say you're punching those numbers and immediately they know that's whatever.
Yes, it's true.
Okay,
we assume they're so clever because to them we are open books.
Yes,
we wonder how they got to know that. But we've been showing them, they read you, they know how you are. So we are wondering how they did. But they keep on looking at you, seeing when you're opening your phone, they are looking at the pattern and they are seeing, they will look at it and know. After 2 or 3 attempts, they realize that what you're doing. When you leave your phone, they'll try it out.
It doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, they'll look. So you'll realize that they know your password and you never
You
told
didn't
them.
share it with them,
Yeah.
but you did.
You
as
did,
you were sitting
indirectly.
there,
For sure,
thinking that they're not looking at you. They
Yeah.
are like CCTV on you, like seeing how that hand is going and trying to cram.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, they're very clever and they're very perceptive.
They're very
Yeah,
perceptive.
exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So Ken, tell us, at what age is it appropriate maybe to get your child a phone? I know it's not a standard thing and it differs for boys and girls and even for the same children, but what would you advise? What are the indicators that maybe when this and this is okay, then I can give my child a phone?
I think age-wise, it would be dependent on how mature the kid is. You see, when we look at social media, we always look at it as a problem.
Yeah.
But social media can be beneficial as well.
Yes. We need
It
to
can
also
be used to help in many instances.
Yes.
It can be a channel for the kids to communicate with a parent or a grandparent who is not there.
Yes.
Maybe using the video call and all that.
Yes.
So it can be beneficial. It can be used for education. It can be used in many ways that are helpful to the kid.
Yes.
But the challenge is exposing to the kids to these gadgets when they have not learned how to use it, but it becomes a channel of learning how to grow up.
Yeah.
So they are not emotionally able to process a lot of stuff, and then they are brought in social media as one of the things they are learning.
They're learning from everything.
And there's no supervision. So it's a mind that can be used for anything if it's not supervised. So the best thing to do is it would be best to have a situation where they are mature.
Yes.
Maybe if it was my advice, it would be better when they're in high school than when they're in primary.
Which means you're talking about age 13, 14 and above.
Yes.
When they're teenagers, actually.
Yes.
Not preteen.
Not preteens. Because at least they have learned how to interact.
They have some boundaries.
They have some boundaries.
Which you have set with them.
And
as
they've learned
parenting.
some, you see, interaction. Some of the effects of social media includes not learning how to socialize well.
Yes.
At least at that age, they've learned how to socialize, and they can use the gadgets as a tool to enhance their socialization.
Yes.
So it shouldn't be the social media sites and the digital whatever should not be nannies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know it's very hard. It's parenting we cannot really give every piece of advice that fits everyone's space. But it would be better if there's a restriction on the time.
The number of hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's something that they will learn from you, not from. You cannot tell them to use social media for 1 hour, and you get home and that's the first thing you do.
Yeah.
So
you have to role model what you're saying to them.
At a young age,
you can get away with it.
At a young age, what you get to learn, psychologists will tell you that kids are looking for relationships, and they're looking for attachments, and you as the parent should be the person they are attached to.
The primary attachment.
Yes.
That's why they're always coming to you.
Yes, they're looking
always
for
running
that.
after you.
And sometimes for dads, it can be that you are waiting for the time when the kid is able to speak and say stuff to you.
To attach at that point.
Yes, but the attachment doesn't start there.
Yes.
It starts when they don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
The non-verbal communication.
Exactly.
Have you allowed them into your space?
Yeah.
Are they comfortable in your space? And have they allowed you into their space?
Yeah.
When moms have the advantage of being around their kid for a long time. So that issue of space is never discussion. They are comfortable. The mom may be as harsh as whoever it is.
I know, but they
they
still find comfort.
They have that psychological space that has been formed because of being there. For that, it may take a while because you're waiting for the kid to be able to speak before you engage them. But you'll realize that there are a lot of research that shows that if the dad is involved as much as the mom, the kid also develops the same emotional attachment. So if the mom and the dad are taken out of this space and they are looking for other options of attachment, what would be the available options? Either for teens, it would be their peers. For
it actually changes. When now they're teenagers, they don't want to attach to you more. They now into their peers. They think you're old-fashioned and you don't know anything. And that not that they are wrong, but they prefer to get the information and the attachment to their peers.
For the young ones, it would be whoever is available. So and whatever is present.
So if it's a phone,
it
will be that.
It will be that. And they will be having withdrawal symptoms of an addict. When you take the gadget away, they will be crying like somebody who is addicted to that stuff. And we learn in psychology and psychiatry that their frontal lobe, the area that helps in decision making, is developing. And if it's developing, it means that it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be helped to learn how to make the right decisions. If it's not allowed to do that, it will make decisions based on what is available. So if decisions are made on and you realize that kids and teens get addicted quickly. If they're exposed to any drug or anything, the addiction is very high. Most people who are addicted,
they start from a very early age. Because everybody is trying to get their attention at that point. Because if they're hooked at that point, getting them out of it will be much harder. So we're actually almost coming to the end of the show, and we need to. I like that you said that there are certain benefits of social media. There are certain benefits, but those benefits come when the children are a little bit older, and mostly to do with learning, mostly to do with the world, the way it is. A lot of things are now
and
enhancing our lives and interaction. So we can't really remove all these gadgets away from our children. It's more about control and more about knowing when to introduce them and how often, instead of letting them be the ones deciding these things. But Joy, please give us a parting shot and tell us maybe what are some of the things that we can do now that will help our children in the future not to get addicted.
Wow, one of the other things that parents can do is I know families that have gadget-free Sundays or gadget-free Saturdays, where they decide we are putting, today Sundays is the day where we put away all our gadgets. We go to church, we go hang out, and then we come back. So creating that culture, it will help the children to learn self-control. Because when you just leave it to them, they will have it day, night, Sunday to Sunday. So that is one of the important things that parents can embrace. Another thing is having a phone contract or a gadget contract. So when I'm as much as we are saying you can allow your child to have the gadget at a particular age.
There are rules around it.
Have a rule.
Contract,
have rules around it.
So serious.
Let it be written down, especially for teenagers. Decide that every day, if after school, you only have a phone 2 hours. Because again, when you allow them, they will chat until midnight. The next day is school. So let there be a contract that helps you to control.
That's true.
And the other most important thing is let us be role models. When you get home, put that phone away. Have time with your children, get to know how their day was, get to interact, get to just have face-to-face, bond with your children, hug them, because nowadays we are not even hugging our children.
I know.
Hug them, kiss them, and just have a bonding moment with them. And especially fathers, like Ken has said.
I know, Ken, Ken is not a father yet, but I can see that when he's a father, he's going to be one of those who are really attached to their children, even when they can't talk. Ken, back to you. Give us a few parting shots. What can we do to make the addiction to the gadgets less?
make addiction to the gadget less. I think-
Initially, you talked about sports, by the way.
Yes,
Activities.
yeah, well, that's one area to be involved in a lot more activities.
Yeah.
It's good to enroll your kids in music, learn to play the guitar,
Yes.
learn to you learn to do stuff, soccer, out swimming and all that, so that the other thing about the mind is that at the young age they have so many neurons. By the time they grow to the age of they are reaching their teens, 50% of their neurons will be destroyed because these are not being used.
Okay.
That's why you find at a young age a child can learn a language very quickly,
Yes.
can learn a skill very quickly. So why not allow these kids to learn so many things so that they have a better chance of survival after you have left. Parenting is not just the period that this kid is with you. Parenting is about giving these kids the skills to live beyond you.
Exactly, to
So
be independent,
you should always look at this situation as what am I doing now to help them grow,
Yes.
help them learn how to survive when I'm not there.
That's true.
So if I'm not doing enough, if I'm leaving them to gadgets to manage them, then that will be very difficult for them in future.
That's true.
Like she has mentioned the issue of interacting with bosses and other people. Help them get to learn life skills. Help them socialize.
Yes.
The other issue is, talked about it, mentorship. They can enroll in mentorship programs.
Yeah, I like that New Dawn is there. You see,
Yes.
sometimes on the parent, this may be very difficult, but there's no danger in reaching out to people who can help.
Yes.
And I'm happy that New Dawn is there. Do you have a Facebook page? Or are you
Yes. We have a
on,
Facebook.
on Instagram and Snapchat?
We're on Facebook as well.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
New Dawn Kenya.
New Dawn Kenya, you have a website?
Yes.
www.newdawnkenya.com.
Yes, www.newdawnkenya.com. It's still under construction,
Okay.
but it will be on in a few days. Yeah.
So feel free, parents. Let's reach out for help to be able to get our children off gadgets, and also let's be role models so that our children can be able to emulate us and be able to better socialize and better interact. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.